So I don't know how much you know about our program, so I'm going to give you an overview of the program and then tell you about the admissions requirements as well as the process for applying if you're interested.
Sure.
Great. So this is the Ed Leadership program specifically. It's part of the larger department is school psychology, counseling, and leadership, which is why you see that at the bottom. It's 3 distinct programs in one department. Our program is a master's degree, preparing students for leadership careers in both the public and private schools and other educational settings. It is a cohort style program. So when you enter the program, you travel through the full 3 semesters with the same cohort. And in that time, you complete your 36 credits. We offer courses in both the fall and the spring. So that's why it's 3 consecutive semesters, no summer courses. There is a fieldwork component, which I'll tell you about on the next slide. So we try to combine work in our courses, then connect it with fieldwork. There are a variety of courses, range of topics, everything from school community relations to educational law and ethics. Students who complete our program are then eligible to sit for both the New York State School Building Leader certification and the School District Leader certification. So in terms of our fieldwork, we have it's a state requirement and a program requirement. It's 450 hours of supervised fieldwork. So that's 150 hours per semester. When you join the program, you are assigned a field supervisor. It's usually an instructor in our program, and they travel through the program with you, and they help you to use your current work site as your fieldwork placement. So you don't have to give up work time. You just sort of find opportunities within your current work site, your job, to log and discuss those leadership opportunities and responsibilities with that supervisor. And every semester you take a course that's a colloquium with your cohort. And in that course, there's a real connection between the fieldwork requirements and the content. So what you learn about there, you apply in the field and log and discuss with your supervisor. Does that make sense?
So far, yes.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
So do you have any questions about the program requirements, or do you want me to tell you about the admission requirements first?
You can tell me about them.
Okay.
Yes, please.
So it's the second master's program, meaning everyone who enters already has a master's degree. And you show the transcripts for that in order to be accepted. Then you need 2 letters of recommendation from supervisors. That is typically, principal and an assistant principal, but at least one should be a direct supervisor. And then you can always discuss the second one. We ask that you include a resume or CV, and then there's a personal statement. And if you're applying, I can give you more details on the specific question, but it's basically about discussing the evidence of your own professional effectiveness and then your vision for leadership. Okay. Although it's not a requirement, we prefer 3 years of classroom teaching or pupil personnel service when starting the program. However, we have accepted people who are accumulating that while in the program. The reason we have that there is that in order to get the state certification, you need to have 3 years of that experience before you can get the provisional. So we put that in there.
Okay.
And when applying, you apply online through the website. You upload all of that required material that I just went over, including the transcripts from all of the previous post-secondary institutions, so undergrad and grad. And then once it's all received and looked at by the committee, then you'll be called, emailed for an interview that we will now do over Zoom or the phone.
Okay.
And these are the dates for applying. So we do have a spring start, which would mean starting basically end of January, the spring semester.
Right.
So it's rolling admission. So if you apply earlier than the deadline, you will certainly learn before the deadline. But it's a December 31st application deadline for the spring. And then if you wanted to start in the fall, applications should be in by July 1st.
Okay. I'll be applying for spring.
Great. So you would start with us at the end of January, and with a new cohort would start in that spring semester.
Right. Great. Sounds good.
So tell me if I can answer any other questions or.
Okay, sure. We've spoken by email. I wrote
Yeah.
you a long extended email and you were so gracious to me. I really appreciate that.
I'm sorry
Um,
I didn't remember. I get so many and I'm constantly fielding them back. So I'm glad that it was helpful.
it's okay. What I was concerned about is I teach as an adjunct professor in several colleges, but I do have some experience in the New York City public school system teaching under a TPD some years ago. And I created a writing program and ran it successfully, at the request of the principal, because I have a writing background as well. I was wondering, because I'm not currently teaching in in the Department of Education, how would that play out? I work for the city of New York, and I'm a supervisor there. I've been there for quite some time, for several years.
You
So,
would not be, so there's kind of two parts to your question. One is,
sure.
would there be any issue with that being your fieldwork site? And the answer is no. I would match you with a supervisor who would know your background and be able to meet your needs. Your needs
Okay.
would be different than, maybe 75% of our students who are going to be more traditional, and that they're going to be classroom teachers. But just know that in any given
Right.
cohort, there are always students who don't have that same background. They're a little more similar to you. We have school social workers, school psychologists. We have
Right.
different sort of experiences coming to the program. And I actually think it's really valuable. It adds something different to the discussions. So that wouldn't be a problem. What I'm going to say now isn't going to be a problem either, but we should just think it through.
Right.
So are you going to want to seek the school building leader or school district leader certificates?
The school building leader. I would like to be a principal when I finish the program, get my license and all.
So they do not require certification.
Okay.
A teaching license, that's not required. However, they want 3 years of documented teaching experience. It does not need to be in a DOE.
Right.
So I don't see it as an issue. What I will do, once you apply, or I can send it to you, is to put you in touch with our certification office.
Right.
To Helen Spencer. I may have given you that information by email, but if not, we can do that. You can email me after this.
Sure.
Just because it's actually on the Brooklyn College certification website, as well as the state website under SBL certification, but
Right.
they require simply documentation of at least 3 years of teaching experience.
Right.
So you could go back and get that. I just would
Yes.
love for you to speak to Helen and make sure that it's going to match up with the requirements. We've had
Okay.
people get documentation from charter schools, from private schools, from and it's not only teachers, it's any pupil, personnel sort of. So you can ask her what documentation will count and be valid.
Okay.
And
All right.
then I just want you to make sure that you have that before you accept the spot, in case that's going to hold you back.
Okay.
Now, of course, the certification is for those positions. Some positions won't require the certification. You can still go through the master's program and have that. But if you're looking for
Right.
the certification, I would want you to speak to Helen Spencer in the certification office.
Okay.
Before, I know the requirements, but the nitty gritty,
Right.
what that letter has to contain, you could even get that for her and submit it and see what the state says about it in advance.
Right.
So you're not taking any chances. I know there'll be no surprises a semester and a half from now, in other words.
Right. Okay, yes, I can come up with the 3 years of teaching
Right.
experience because, as I
That's why I
said, I
would
taught.
remember that from your
Um,
experience. And it
at,
may be that it's very easy to document and Helen can take one look at your CV and say, this isn't going to be a problem.
right,
Or she may ask you to go get it for your own, for her own and your own peace of mind and submit it and see if they have
right.
any, thoughts about it or, but I don't see it as an issue. I just want you to be prepared to navigate it a little bit because it'll be a little less traditional.
Okay, so the adjunct teaching, would that be considered teaching experience? Because I
So
mean,
they require, if you go to the state website, and actually the Brooklyn College certification site has the details as well. It does say 3 years of full-time, and how they quantify full-time, I'm not exactly sure, but Helen
okay,
will know all of that.
all right.
Sometimes a lot of part-time together might make for full-time, or they may be looking for 3 years of consistent full-time, one position.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Helen Spencer would be the best person to verify that for you.
Okay, I did try to call her.
Okay.
I could never get through to her. I got a nice woman on the phone, but it wasn't her.
Did I give you her email or just her phone?
Just her phone.
Okay. Email me later if you still have my email. If
I
not, I
do.
can get it. Um,
Yes.
and let me give you her email because maybe, so normally if we weren't in COVID times, I would send you right to her office, or give you her office phone. But obviously
Right.
it's more complicated now since everybody's off campus.
Yes.
So maybe that's why you're having a hard time getting her. But I
Oh
think
yeah, totally.
emailing her would be ideal. And you're welcome to CC me so that I'm
Okay.
on the response and we can go from there.
Sure. Okay. And her name is Helen
Spencer. And
Spencer.
actually, if you go to
Okay.
the certification part of the Brooklyn College School of Ed
I can
website,
provide Helen's email in the chat for her.
oh, that would be amazing. Thank you so much.
No problem.
And she's usually really good about writing back. And I would just explain in there your unique circumstances, that you meet all the other requirements clearly, but that's the one that you just want to verify.
Right. And would that hold me back, I wonder, or can I? Well, I should have it because I've taught
Right.
different places
Right.
within the DOE as well as the adjunct.
I think it'll just be a matter of gathering the documentation.
Right.
So if she can give you a pretty strong sense of, this will be fine, I would feel comfortable with you starting. But if at any point you feel like you're not going to get the answer from the state in time, then, we can talk about whether you start in the fall instead, because there's a small risk with that. But let's see, it's only what, October 6th, 8th?
Yes.
What is it, February? I have no idea anymore. It's definitely sometime, this still 2020, right?
Yes.
We still have time. I'm not panicked about you I still think there's plenty of time for us to get a solid answer that everyone feels comfortable with. And to
Okay.
get things moving in time for the spring. So if you feel comfortable, you can go ahead and apply while simultaneously
Sure.
corresponding with Helen. I think that's fine.
I'll do that. I'll contact her most likely tomorrow, and if not, then Monday, because I'm off on Monday, and
Right.
I'll have time that I can sit down with it. Because
Perfect.
right now I'm finishing up a second master's degree, getting
Okay.
ready to graduate in November. So
Right.
I just handed in a creative thesis, and I'm working on a presentation.
Yeah, I think you need a nap and then do it on Monday.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
But I think
definitely.
we can get the ball rolling fast. And
Okay.
again, CC me if you'd like, any help reaching her, and then I'll also, or forward me her responses, whatever makes the most sense. Keep me in the loop,
Sure.
and then we can always hop on another call or Zoom
Okay.
through the process.
That'll work.
So,
Thank you.
Another student just came, Nisa. So Nisa, if you would like to ask any questions or speak, Also, please, everyone, if you can both fill out the Google Doc form that I provided in the chat. And as I mentioned in the chat, that at the end of the presentation, I'll provide a quick poll for you guys to fill out about your thoughts on the presentation and on the open house.
Okay.
Nisa, can you hear us? I don't know if Nisa caught the presentation and wanted to hear it again, or just wants to ask some questions. I was focused and I didn't see when somebody
She
came.
said she can hear us. So
Okay.
can you speak, please? Okay. Nisa, does your mic work?
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you? Sorry, I couldn't turn it on then.
No, that's okay. So Nisa, I was so focused on talking. I didn't see when you came in. So will you tell me if you saw the presentation? It's very quick, so I'm happy to go through it again. Or if you saw it, I can just take questions from you.
That's okay. I don't have any questions as of now. Thank you.
Okay, so did you see this these slides, or you didn't catch that?
I saw the slide previous of that. That's when I came in.
Okay, so let me give you a little tour of the program, and then maybe you'll have some questions afterwards. And if you don't, then you can always be in contact later. So just want to tell you a little about the program. I'm not sure how much you already know, so I'm just going to give you a very much of an overview and umbrella of the program. Feel free to ask any more questions for details, and then just tell you about the admission requirements and the actual process of applying. So Ed Leadership is one of the programs under the larger Department of School Psychology, Counseling, and Leadership. We help prepare students for careers in leadership in both private and public educational settings. So we have a cohort style program. It's 36 credits. Students do it in 3 consecutive semesters. So it's a 1.5-year program. We only offer courses during the fall and spring semester, not summer courses. It's a real combination of work in our evening courses with hands-on learning in the field. And I'll tell you a little about fieldwork on the next slide. We have a variety of courses that lead to sort of a larger understanding of leadership, and also help you in preparing for sitting for both certifications, the New York State School Building Leader, as well as the School District Leader. Once you leave the program, you're eligible for both of those certifications and just need to take the appropriate exams. The program requires 450 hours total of supervised fieldwork. So that's 150 per semester. When you enter the program, I assign students a supervisor who will work with you throughout the program and support you in taking what you're learning in all the courses and applying it to your current work site. So you do not need to leave your job in order to complete the field work. It's done in your regular work setting. In order to apply, you have to have a master's degree prior to this. So it's a second master's. You need 2 letters of recommendation from supervisors. We ask that you send a resume and a personal statement. And if you're interested in applying, you'll get the exact wording of the question. But essentially, we ask you to describe your own professional effectiveness in your current position, as well as your vision for leadership. Although it's not required, most of our students have at least 3 years of classroom teaching or pupil personnel service. And that's because I think you were there when I was discussing this with the other participant. Just that's one of the requirements for certification. So most of our students already have that when they begin the program or accumulate it by the end. And you can apply fully online. You upload all of that required material from the last slide. And once that is all in, we will call you about scheduling an interview, which would be by phone or by Zoom now. And here are the deadlines for applying. So if you're interested in beginning next semester, we ask that your application is in by December 31st at the latest. However, it is rolling admission. So if you got it in sooner, you'll hear much sooner than that. And if you wanted to wait and begin in the fall, applications are due by July 1st. We have a new cohort that begins every semester. Any questions for me that I can answer? I'll put you back on this one since it's got sort of an overview.
Is the fieldwork a part of the certificates or are they separate?
So the fieldwork is, you get credit for the fieldwork. It's part of the 36 credits. And it's also required, it's a state requirement for the certification. The program itself leads to certification because of all of its components, including the fieldwork. And at that point, you just need to take the exams for certification. But the fieldwork is required by the state, but also is part of the 36 credits. So it's required for us as well.
Oh, thank you.
Is there an application fee?
Yes, there is an application fee. The amount I don't know, but
It's $75.
Oh, okay, because I didn't see that listed anywhere. I was looking for that and maybe a formal application to fill out, but I'm assuming that it's a packet kind of a thing.
No, so the applications are strictly online through the Apply Yourself. So you have to go on the Brooklyn College website. And
Okay,
there, when you click under admissions, you're going to click graduate admissions, and there you'll see apply online, and it will lead you to the application.
got you. Okay, thank you.
No problem. Any other questions?
Is the fieldwork work site assigned by the professor or do we get to choose?
it's your job. Your current work site becomes your field work site. You don't need to switch positions or places of work. We're trying to accommodate teachers who are working, school social workers. So very rarely somebody is, at the time of starting needs help finding a place because they're between positions. That situation we deal with individually, and we assign you a supervisor and help you find the right place to do such an internship. But the vast majority of our students stay in their current work sites, continue to be paid, full-time paid employees. And your supervisor will be matched. I match the supervisors with the students, so I'm not sure if you can share with me where you're currently working and your position, and I can tell you about the type of supervisor I would likely look for you. But I do think about what would make a good match for both where you are professionally now, but also what you hope to do and accomplish with the degree. Does that answer that question, Nisa?
Yeah, it does. Thank you. I'm still an undergrad student.
Okay, so you've got a little ways to go here.
Yeah.
But so a lot of our students come from after completing a first master's degree, such as a master's in elementary childhood ed, or in special ed or a specific area. Then they simultaneously complete that and they teach for a few years and then apply to the program when they're interested in moving into leadership positions, administrative positions.
Thank you.
Of course.
Does the program have some type of a prep course for the licensing exams?
Yeah, so it's funny that you mention it because I'm just arranging it now. So every 2 years, we've had people in to do a wonderful workshop for all cohorts at once. And then we repeat it every 2 years so that you are prepared. Our pass rate is nearly 100%. So the content of the courses very much prepares you. The workshop that we've been offering for years gives you sort of the tricks of the trade for the test itself. It's less
Right.
about content because you really get that from our courses. So now, they're offering all these things by Zoom instead, which is very different. But right now
Okay.
there's no rush on it because there's an extension on needing to take the test for people graduating now. But yes, we help you both in terms of
Okay.
coursework.
All right. And what about weekend?
Yeah, go on.
Wonderful. Sounds good. Question, are there any weekend courses?
No weekend courses, no summer courses. It's all evenings in the fall and spring, all after work, with the understanding that everybody is working full time.
Right. Okay.
And actually, you would only have courses twice a week, content courses on one night, colloquium on another, and that runs through the whole program.
All right. How long are the classes each night?
It varies. The colloquiums are a mix of whole group and then small group work and meeting with the professors. So they may look on schedule to be a little bit longer, like 3 hours. And then,
Oh,
but again, some of the time you're doing your independent work, some of the time
right.
you're checking in. And the other night is 2 back-to-back content courses, which can definitely be a long evening, but especially when we weren't on Zoom, and hopefully we'll get back to being in person, it allows for to have, to come to campus, settle in for an evening and not have to commute more than twice a week.
Okay. All right. Is it on Zoom now because of
It
COVID?
is, yes.
Okay.
It's on Zoom, and I would be making a prediction I can't stand behind if I started to think about what the spring will look like. Who knows,
Right.
But right now we are
That's true.
fully on Zoom.
Okay, that's fine. I like Zoom.
I know. I mean, there's disadvantages and advantages for sure.
Yes.
But our students who are currently in the program, who are even our first cohort, who have never met in person because they just began this
Oh,
semester,
wow.
but they really have already gotten to know each other. I mean, Zoom can be, they're all meeting each other this way. And
Right.
while there are, while I sort of wish we were all together, and it does make for a warmer, more, it's more what we're used to. There are advantages,
Yes.
People aren't commuting twice a week. They have more time for themselves or for their other jobs, which have gotten
Right.
more intense. So there's the positives and negatives, and we will just follow whatever CUNY and Brooklyn College tell us in terms of safety.
Sure, of course.
Anything else?
So now I'm going to release the poll to everyone, and if you can please fill it out quickly. And then if you have any other questions, as I put in my email address in the chat, feel free to send me any questions or any emails.
And I'm going to put my email in the chat for everyone. So feel free to email me at any time. I think you probably have it, but just in case.
I have now provided the poll, so if you both can please fill it out shortly, that would be very helpful. Okay, thank you. And that's about it.
Okay, thank you for attending. Thank you for your help, and be in touch. My email's there, and then you know where to go now for admission, general questions, and I'm happy to answer by email at any time any questions about the program specifically and applying.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
Thank you. Both of
Stay
you too.
safe, everyone. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye.
Good night. Bye.
Bye-bye.